Join the Olympics.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Do 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. Shaboom. If I could take you up.
About the Maricopa, Arizona audit. This is how you tell where the fat, the voter piggy bank, is in the system. And you have to kind of do this by triangulation so you understand how much it affects every single precinct. It's not just the statement they say, well, there's not enough to make a material difference in the outcome. That's not really an accurate statement. You have to look at every single precinct. And if a precinct is doing it, it basically subverts the vote of everybody in a single precinct. So fungibility. In economics, fungibility is the property of a good or commodity whose individual units are essentially interchangeable, and each of those whose parts is indistinguishable from another part. So in this case, it's like taking a real voter out but putting a phony voter in, or taking a real voter out or putting an inactive voter in and the voter doesn't know they voted. It kind of looks real, but it's actually not the real asset. So this is what's called a fungibility regression report, and it's how to understand how these different things triangulate with each other to work it backwards so you understand the instant impact on a precinct. So there's three things in this report. You're going to get the merge purge report. That's how fast they scrub their voter rolls and to get rid of voters so you can't see them. The anomaly report, which helps you understand, okay, this is why it's an anomaly. Maricopa got rid of 23,000 plus voters right after the election was over. Why would they get rid of them if they were active? And then you have the fungible voter analysis. You have to know where all these things are hidden precinct by precinct. So I'm going to kind of teach you how to read this, and this is kind of what we look at. You see at the top here, it basically has the listing of one precinct. You get all these reports, but this is like one precinct to explain it to you. And so when you're looking at the Merge Purge report, there's 1,811 voters in this precinct. There are 1,639 voters that voted. They said they had a 90% turnout. We do these icons to let you know where the fraud is. This particular one is Alpaca is the precinct. And so let's just kind of look at some numbers. There were 2,089,500 and 53 voters counted in Maricopa. There are 1,639 that originated from this precinct, 0013 or 013. So if you look at the margin of the vote of how this precinct impacted Maricopa, you realize that this precinct accounted for approximately 0.0784% of the 10,500 votes. Nailing it down, this precinct basically contributed 8 votes to the win. Now, one of these other charts that we provide you is what is called the Merge Purge report. So you understand how to look at it. This is the first 3 months of growth out from the election. So it's 3 months of growth leading up to the election. It grew at 2.3%. Then you get the last 2 months, the 2 months just prior to the election, because it'll always grow at an accelerated rate, and you're trying to get a good average. And so this precinct grew at 0.72%. Is their average growth rate. So they put in 65 new registrations during that time. And of that 65, they were 84.62% active. It's just a good way to measure the active rate of that voter. But you can see these numbers are still different. It's still, your most active or your newest ones, not your oldest ones. So why is this such a high 90.5% activity rate? Then we look at the 5-month purge, and it came out to about 0.5% because they would get rid of 45 voters during that time. So the top line, when you're looking up here, this is what happened before the election. After the election, we look at the same thing, 3 months, last 4 months. We get their average growth rate. It was 47. Okay, so yeah, this was a little more growth in the precinct before the election, but this is about a pretty standard. They put 47 people on. But we also look at their purge rate. Remember, a voter that has just voted is the most valuable voter of all. They want to keep them on the list no matter what. their purge rate went up to 0.84% from 0.5%. They went up 235% in their purging. Why did they purge so many so fast right after the election? And this is what you're looking for. Now you got to dive deeper into that purging. And so the second set of charts is what we call the anomaly reports, okay? Same precinct, same information. You're looking at all the same information. But they got rid of 51 voters immediately after the election ended. Those were 51 voters that voted in this election. Now, the margin of the election was only 0.509%. They got rid of 3.1165% immediately. That's why this is red flagged, okay? It's huge. And then there were 4 of them that couldn't have been found anywhere. And so you're looking at all the different ratings. This has a minority rating of 2.7%. They've got, according to the Python rating, 40 ghost voters in there shouldn't be there. And a Kesher rating, K1, that's the highest fraud rate. And as we move in it, okay, well, how much fungibility does this precinct have in it? And so now what we're looking at, and this is where we kind of find it. This is where the fat is on the books, even though they have these almost 1,800, right? That's how they got their 1,800. They reactivated 40 people. These were totally inactive voters in this precinct. Basically dead to the world, that to keep on the books forever, and they bumped up 2.08%. Bang, out of nowhere, they reactivated. But you see, they still have a reserve. If they wanted to go up higher, they could go up another 6%. So all of these help you understand this is how they affect across the precinct, and this is how they affect across the county. These are all the math based on the numbers that were given by the state. So we teach you how to read them. There's kind of a breakdown chart so you understand how each one, this, you take the voting assets they have in this one. This is just a sample one, divided by how many the state reports, and then how many are really active, divided by how many vote. So we give you the formulas to do that. The main thing that you understand in this video is if, in fact, they have 0.0784, and out of that margin, that means this precinct contributed 8 votes. And this really doesn't even include, the other reports you see, dead voters, but this has, you take away 4 because they've got voters that aren't on any dead or any rolls. They're just not there. They have 21 dead voters in this precinct. 21 that are known dead, right? 95.24% of them are on the permanent early voters list. Okay, so when you get down to the analytics, you're kind of doing a plus-minus game of how good, how bad this precinct is. And so if they contributed 8 votes to the positive of the wind, well, they got 40 that were done literally an instant reactivation. What we find really interesting is that's the exact number of Bobby Python's work that said are fake voters there. They have 40 unknown voters, can't be found anywhere else, 21 dead voters. They did a 1.582 scrub, right? 119 plus unknown. This gives this precinct a really big negative number. So basically we take the 8 and we take all of their fungibility regression, and we look at it, and they basically score a negative 97. Which is exactly in line with this is well over what should have been done. It's probably criminal, needs to be investigated, and has a Kesher fraud rating of K1. This is how we all cross-correlate each other's work, and you can see what happens. So this is just a simple explainer of the charts. You're getting 748 charts, 3 different ones, and you kind of look at them basically side by side. There will be some differences in the number between when the fungibility report was run or, election day or whatever. But these are all based on the 2020 election. You can see where the fat is, and you can understand how they use this to, if they need to, throw elections. Thank you.